New Everton manager Graham Potter hosted his ex-club in the last episode of our realistic takeover rebuild as Brighton and Hove Albion visited Goodison Park and came away with a point. Now it's James Garner's turn to face his former employers. The 22-year-old centre midfielder spent a season and a half on loan at Nottingham Forest, and he was a key player in their championship success and eventual promotion via the playoffs. He settled in nicely at Everton since making the move from Manchester United back in 2022, forming a formidable partnership alongside Amadou Onana in Graham Potter's robust 3-4-3 system. The team bus is ready to leave and head over to the City Ground, and we're going to waste no time in jumping into our featured game of the episode, but we will also be quick simming games against Newcastle and Chelsea as we begin to approach the halfway point of Graham Potter's first season in charge. Ryan Yates will captain Forest today, and he's another player we've had our eye on in terms of a potential transfer in January, alongside Andrew Omobamidele, who doesn't feature at all for Forest today. Instead, Niakate and Montiel will be the key players in defence, and Taiwo Awoniyi leads the line up front. Nottingham Forest, one of the weaker sides that we've played in recent episodes, but we certainly can't underestimate them, especially since they are unbeaten in the last 5 games, including 3 wins. The headline in terms of Graham Potter's starting 11 today is that Lewis Dobbin makes a start alongside Reiss Nelson in support of Beto up front. James Garner does pair with Amadou Onana in midfield, and it's a familiar back 5 that stand in front of Jordan Pickford, the only exception being Arnaud Armidojic making way for Ben Godfrey to return to the side. So without further ado, let's head over to the City Ground and see if we can be the team that finally puts a loss against Nottingham Forest's record. We are up in the commentary box at the City Ground for this one. A light mist hanging over the stadium today. We can't see it here down on the pitch, but certainly saw it up and around the stands. And I really fancy us to get a result here today against Nottingham Forest. I fancy us to get the ball down, to play our football, as Ben Godfrey holds up the initial Nottingham Forest attack. Nathan Patterson doing well to get his foot in as well. Lewis Dobbin making his first start for Everton in the Premier League today. And we are really starting to find our feet in terms of getting to know this new system that Graham Potter wants to play. Understanding the roles that we need everybody to fulfill. Understanding the types of players that we need in each of those roles. And we are really starting to flourish. Up to 10th place in the Premier League. So, officially a top half club. The board want us to finish mid-table. That's a poor pass from Jared Branthwaite. Can't find Maxim Takaipa out on the left-hand side of midfield. The board want us to finish mid-table. We're certainly achieving that at the moment. And I would be more than happy with any top half finish here in Graham Potter's first season. A win against Nottingham Forest would help us kick on to achieve that. So that's exactly what we're going to try and get here today at the City Ground. James Garner, of course, in midfield against his old club, as Nathan Patterson finds Lewis Dobbin early. Pace is one of the primary dangers that Lewis Dobbin poses, so we're going to be looking to get him in behind today. Similar to Reiss Nelson, 2 pacey attackers today. No Jack Harrison, no Dwight McNeil, so a little bit we're sacrificing defensively whilst prioritising pace in behind alongside Beto up front today. Reiss Nelson has picked up a knock already, which is not good to see. So we'll have to monitor that and see if he is able to run it off or whether he needs to be replaced. Good intervention from James Garner. Wins the ball back for Everton. And I think let's just get the ball down and let's play here. Let's really start pinging some passes around. Really start, as we said, playing our football here early in this game. Reiss Nelson can't find Onana. It was a nice idea cutting it inside to the centre midfielder. But read well by Nottingham Forest. James Garner presses high. And almost wins the ball back there, but can't quite manage it. Onana dropping a little deeper. Good challenge by Nathan Patterson. But Tavares is away on the left-hand side regardless. And it was a decent enough cross to the Nottingham Forest player that had taken up a position on the edge of the area, but it was a poor touch to lay it off. And Onana comes away with it. Reece Nelson cuts inside. Good run from Beto, who's into the Nottingham Forest area, snatches at the shot with his left foot. But it's the first sight of goal for Beto and the first sight of goal for Everton. It's a shot that goes harmlessly wide in the end, but I think Beto was right to take it on. There was nobody in the penalty area better positioned than he was. And he got a lot of power behind the effort. But very little accuracy with his weaker foot, unfortunately. Nottingham Forest come away. Ben Godfrey there to slow them down. Good challenge by Maxim de Kuyper. And a little bit too much on that for Reece Nelson. He has, however, managed to run off that knock. We saw him nursing his shoulder earlier on, but it's not an injury that's going to linger, and that's good for us because, again, Reece Nelson can come away with the ball here on the left-hand side. There's that pace that we talked about. Absolutely devastating pace. Just tries to loft it up to Beto in the box. Blocked by the Nottingham Forest man, and Reece Nelson should have just allowed it to go out of play there. Instead, he tried to take it down, and he's ended up gifting Nottingham Forest a goal kick when it should really have been an Everton corner. Well won by Jared Branthwaite. Will Reece Nelson use his pace once more to take on Montiel? He does, and he beats him with ease. Does get the ball into the box this time. Lewis Dobbin in the area. Not really an aerial target, though. That's something else we're missing out in the absence of Dwight McNeil and, to a lesser extent, Jack Harrison today. Beto, of course, up front. After Potter experimented with Jack Harrison in that position in the last game. So he's, of course, going to be a target man for crosses. But he's going to have no support, really. Well cut out again by Nathan Patterson. Lewis Dobbin finds James Garner. There's Reece Nelson. Nathan Patterson has continued his run. Is he going to get there, though? He's not. It was a nice idea from Reece Nelson. Doesn't come off, though. We are looking to play our football certainly early on here. But it's just not quite coming off at the moment. Positive signs. And I think if we continue to play this way, something is going to come off sooner rather than later for us. Again, nice idea from Beto. Can't quite execute, but it's the right idea. The little reverse pass into James Garner. Tavares on the left-hand side for Nottingham Forest once more. Blocked by Nathan Patterson. Tavares has been Nottingham Forest's most dangerous-looking player going forward, which is not ideal. If your left back is your biggest attacking threat, you're probably not in particularly good shape from an attacking sense. And it's Nottingham Forest's chance to snatch at the shot this time. I cannot get Graham Potter's hair the right colour. It doesn't matter what colour I change it to. It always looks absolutely ludicrous. Both for the hair on his head and for his beard. It also seems to change so often as well. It will be one colour in a press conference, and then you see him on the sideline, and it's a completely different colour. So, without a face scan for him, we're just going to have to deal with that, unfortunately. Nathan Patterson. James Garner. Rash challenge from the Nottingham Forest man, but James Garner rides it and finds Nathan Patterson once more. He lofts the ball into the box towards Reece Nelson. He put his head in a dangerous area. Nottingham Forest clear. James Tarkowski wins the header. There's James Garner once more. Amadou Onana with some space to shoot with his left foot. Strikes towards goal, and it's a powerful effort. Blocked by the Nottingham Forest man. We would rather that was on Amadou Onana's right foot, but he unleashed with his left. And it was a decent enough strike. It looked like it would have been on target if the Nottingham Forest man hadn't been there. But we do have a free kick in a relatively dangerous area. We've seen Maxime de Kuyper loft these kind of free kicks from these kind of areas into the box and cause issues before. And we'll see if he can do the same again. We're going to try and just loft this in towards Beto, who's running in behind. And it was again a nice idea. But again, not quite the execution. Into the right area. Beto just couldn't get on the end of it. And Nottingham Forest could be in here with Taiwo Awoniyi. Really good defender from Ben Godfrey, though. He's a little low on sharpness. He has been out of the side for several consecutive games now. And he is suffering in terms of sharpness as a result. And again, we give the ball away poorly this time. Nothing really on there. And Nottingham Forest will slow the game down a little bit as we approach the final 15 minutes of this first half. Awoniyi, good challenge by Branthwaite. Here's Dobbin on the right-hand side. Chance to run at the Nottingham Forest back line again, but immediately corralled by 3 Forest defenders. Branthwaite into Tarkowski. There's Onana in a bit of space. Maxime de Kuyper up ahead of him. That's a poor challenge by Nottingham Forest. Beto finds the ball at his feet, though. Now Reece Nelson cuts inside. But it's a good challenge by the Nottingham Forest man. I'll be interested to see if he's called back for a booking when the play stops. It was a poor challenge in the centre of midfield. And the referee did certainly play advantage. I wouldn't be surprised if he brought it back for a yellow. It was a late one. Nottingham Forest with Montiel. Like to get their fullbacks very, very high. They're doing so today at the very least. And Montiel in a position on the edge of the box to cause a little bit of danger for Everton. Onana slows down the attack initially. It's a good save from Jordan Pickford. Comfortable one, but one that did need to be made. It was a shot that was on target, low and away to his left-hand side. De Kuyper just can't release the ball quickly enough to Reece Nelson, who'd made a good run in behind. And it's Di Castillo this time. Again, finding Montiel. There's space in the channels if we can just win the ball back. See, it's exactly that. If Reece Nelson could have been the first to that ball, there's space in behind because Nottingham Forest are pushing their fullbacks up so high. And we could have something on the opposite side of the field here with Lewis Dobbin. Nathan Patterson with the overlapping run. Probably doesn't have as much pace as Tavares, so he's just going to have to hold it up. Lewis Dobbin in support. Beats one Nottingham Forest man, can't beat the second. Tavares recovering particularly well in terms of position. Beaten initially by the combination between Patterson and Dobbin. But found himself in a position to make the tackle when Dobbin received the ball once more. And again, we've stolen the ball away from Nottingham Forest. And it will be a booking for Sangare. The referee hadn't forgotten about it, despite the fact that a significant amount of time had elapsed between the initial foul and the ball going out for a throw-in. De Kuyper can't win it back. Let's see if Jared Branthwaite can. He puts it out for a corner. It's probably going to be the last action of the game here in the first half. It's been a fairly uneventful one at the City Ground. But Nottingham Forest with a chance to make an impact at the end of the first half here with a corner into the box. De Kuyper's there. Lewis Dobbin, I believe, is there as well. We'll take half-time now, referee, please. Doesn't blow his whistle. It's going to give Nottingham Forest one last opportunity to get a shot away. And they don't do it quickly enough, and the referee does blow. So an uneventful first half. It's one in which we looked comfortable defensively, but just didn't have quite the... We weren't quite clinical enough going forward, would be my assessment of that first half. But positive signs, certainly. I think if we come back out with the same intention that we played with in that first half, I certainly think we can make something happen. So back out for the second half here at the City Ground. It is our kickoff. And we will be trying to get on the front foot early in this second half. Trying to attack a bit more directly. With a bit more vigour and enthusiasm. James Garner taking up a nice position. Switches the play really nicely to Maxim de Kuyper. There's Jared Branthwaite. De Kuyper once more. Reece Nelson up ahead of him. Oh, it's a nice little turn from De Kuyper though. Can he find room to cross? Yes, he can. There's Beto in the box. Falls to James Garner. Takes it down on his chest. And what's this? I think it's going to be a Nottingham Forest free kick. I'm not sure exactly what for. It looks potentially to have been an offside from Beto. That would be my best guess. James Garner took it down on his chest. I thought potentially a handball initially. But the free kick was given much deeper into the Nottingham Forest box than where James Garner took it down. So it must have been Beto either straying offside or potentially with a foul in the Nottingham Forest box. Amadou Onana takes it down on the edge of his box. Probably the wrong decision. He probably just should have cleared there because it's invited Nottingham Forest pressure again. Jared Branthwaite can't cut it out, but James Garner can. And that's a poor touch from Lewis Dobbin. Really poor touch. Just trying to lay it into the path of Amadou Onana, but he didn't put anywhere near enough on it. And again, we've invited Nottingham Forest pressure when we've done well to deal with it initially. Ben Godfrey coming across. Nathan Patterson there as well. Puts in a good challenge. Godfrey. Dobbin. Just has to turn back. Does well to keep the ball in play there. There's a bit of a loose touch from the youngster. Branthwaite into De Kuyper. And he beats his man really, really well. And Beto is in the box. And instead, De Kuyper has crossed it straight to Reece Nelson, who couldn't have been further offside if he tried. That's a good 10 yards. Beto was in a fantastic position. I thought De Kuyper was just going to drop it right onto his head. Instead, he finds Reece Nelson. And Reece Nelson was a mile offside. James Garner. Nathan Patterson. James Garner once more. Again, that switch is on to Maxim de Kuyper. Again, we're going to look for Beto in the box. Finds him this time. What a save. What an incredible save by the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper. I was certain that Beto was going to open the scoring there. And on second glance, the header was a little bit too close to the Forest keeper. A fantastic cross from Maxim de Kuyper. He's so dangerous with the ball at his feet in those kinds of situations. Beto gets the header on target. Can't punish Nottingham Forest by finding the back of the net though. But this is what we mentioned. If we keep playing with the same kind of intent going forward, we're going to make something happen sooner rather than later. That's a loose pass though, which James Tarkowski does well to retrieve. Nathan Patterson. James Garner once more. There's Lewis Dobbin. Made the run. Initially too early. Tried to get back onside. Amadou Onana. Again, that's a poor challenge. Branthwaite will collect though. Maxim de Kuyper. Onana in the centre of midfield. Skips away from a Nottingham Forest man. And a second. Tries to find Lewis Dobbin, but again he's made a strange and unusual run that Amadou Onana didn't really read. He's not impressed me today, Lewis Dobbin. He's had a fairly poor game, to be honest. James Garner finds Reece Nelson. There's Maxim de Kuyper. Again, we're going to look for Beto in the box. It's blocked by Nottingham Forest man this time. De Kuyper lofts in at the second time of asking. Reece Nelson the target, though. And cleared by a Nottingham Forest man. Can see a couple of substitutes warming up on the touchline for Everton. I think Lewis Dobbin is going to be one of the players to leave the field. Got both Dwight McNeil and Jack Harrison on the bench today. Again, good defender from Nathan Patterson. And does a really good job to skip away from the Nottingham Forest man as he pressed. Reece Nelson. De Kuyper up ahead of him. As is Beto. De Kuyper in a good position. And it's a poor touch. Such a poor touch from De Kuyper. Beto did really well to find him with a ball just kind of slipped through. And De Kuyper's first touch was good. His second took the ball completely out from under his feet. And it's a good cross from Forrest. What an intervention that is from James Tarkowski. Taiwo Awoniyi was getting ready to unleash there, and Jordan Pickford would have been in trouble. It would have been a shot from close range. Difficult to deal with. But James Tarkowski nicks in and steals the ball away. Here's Reiss Nelson. We've seen what he can do from range. And it's another good attempt from Reiss Nelson. We've seen him score from that kind of area already this season. But again, the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper equal to the attempt. We are looking like the side that's more likely to break the deadlock here at the City ground, though. It's a nice attack down the left-hand side from Nottingham Forest, however. Tavares, again, high up the pitch. And if we can come away on this right-hand side, Nottingham Forest could be in trouble. Tavares is so quick, though. Lewis Dobbin does fantastically well to skip away from him. Lewis Dobbin into a dangerous area, strikes from goal. Or strikes towards goal from range, and that's the best we've seen from Lewis Dobbin so far. Unfortunately, it's going to be his last action of the game, as we do have a couple of substitutes warmed up and ready to go. So 2 changes for Graham Potter. It is going to be Lewis Dobbin to leave the field alongside Amadou Onana. And it's going to be Abdoulaye Doucouré and Jack Harrison coming on to replace them. James Garner to put in the corner. Beto wants the ball. Instead, it was Reiss Nelson the target. And I thought it was going to be another corner there. It's actually going to be a Nottingham Forest goal kick. Reiss Nelson pressing high. I'm tempted to press forward into our attacking game plan for the next 10-15 minutes or so, because we certainly do look like the team that's more likely to score. And I feel like we deserve to come away with the victory here. So I would like to press for all 3 points. That's poor from James Tarkowski. He's had such a good game. But that wasn't his best moment, giving the ball back to Nottingham Forest after we'd done well to initially retrieve it from them. Reiss Nelson away on the left-hand side. Reina has a bit of pace about him. Reiss Nelson manages to cut inside, though. And he's just having to hold the ball up. Does really well to find Patterson. Ball crossed in towards Beto. Lofted into the air off the hand of the goalkeeper. And Beto couldn't quite find it for the rebound. Patterson with an opportunity to cross once more, though. And he does get it in towards, again, Beto and Reiss Nelson. But again, Nottingham Forest deal with the cross and clear. Loose pass from Montiel gives the ball straight to De Kuyper. And there's Abdoulaye Doucouré. Nathan Patterson in space on the right-hand side. Can he beat his man outside? He's done exactly that. Jack Harrison with a good run. Nathan Patterson can't quite find him. And we'll take the free kick, referee. Thank you, linesman. The referee trying to play advantage there, but the linesman insisting that it was going to be an Everton free kick. And it is in a dangerous area. Nathan Patterson currently stood over it. I would rather James Garner delivered this. And we're going to be looking for Beto around the penalty spot. And we found him. Beto couldn't quite find the ball in the air, though. James Tarkowski, really good intervention. Ben Godfrey. Nathan Patterson. There's James Garner. Again, he can cross. Beto wins the header. Saved again by the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper. It was a difficult opportunity for Beto. The ball just looped up into the air, immediately above the penalty spot. And all he could do really was try and get enough power on it to cause the Forest goalkeeper an issue. He just about did that. Lofted back into the box by Garner. Beto, no mistake this time. And it's offside. It's offside. I thought we'd broken the deadlock there, but Beto had strayed into an offside position. It was a fantastic finish with the header. Into the corner of the net this time, rather than within the vicinity of the goalkeeper. And I said we looked like the team that was more likely to put the ball in the back of the net. We've done exactly that. But unfortunately, it is chalked off for offside. About 10 minutes to go in the game, maybe. Stoppage time included. I don't think we will step up into our attacking game plan. We do have all the momentum in this game. But I think any away game, you have to be happy enough with a point. Jared Branthwaite takes the ball down. Releases to James Garner. Turns back inside. Gives the ball away, James Garner. Great save, Jordan Pickford. Great save. I thought we'd given the game away there. James Garner gifting the ball to Nottingham Forest. Fantastic save from Jordan Pickford, though, who continues to have an excellent season. Nathan Patterson does well to find James Garner. Jack Harrison. Beto inside. There's Maxim de Kuyper on the left. Into the Nottingham Forest box. Pulls it back. Cleared. Across the 6-yard box. Nobody gambled. We needed somebody to run across the 6-yard box, but everybody was too static. And it's end-to-end here now in the last 5 minutes of the game. Both sides pushing for a winner. Good challenge, Abdoulaye Doucouré. Reece Nelson, can we create one last opportunity here? Beto through the middle. It's an awful pass. It's an awful pass. Really poor from Reece Nelson. Good challenge from James Tarkowski, though. Can't hold on to it. And it looks like Nottingham Forest might get the last opportunity of the game. Ben Godfrey has something to say about that, though. Beto into Jack Harrison. And we've got a quick break on here. James Garner inside. Jack Harrison can't find him. Get back on your feet. And there's no foul in there. There's no foul in there. How? And I think with that, the last opportunity of the game is gone. We had one last opportunity there with the quick break, and we couldn't make anything happen. Nottingham Forest. The ball just in the centre circle. I think they're just going to while away the last couple of minutes, and they do exactly that. How have we not won this game? 2 consecutive 0-0 draws. It's not the best in terms of entertainment value for the series at the very least. But it is another point on the board, which we can't complain too much about away at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest, as we saw, have been on a good run of form. And they do go at least a 6th game unbeaten. I believe we are now 9 games unbeaten. It may even be double digits at this point. So we can't complain too much, but I think we were the better side and we did put the ball in the back of the net. So again, it feels more like 2 points dropped than a point gained. So certainly not the worst result imaginable, but I think if we were going to put 3 points on the board in this episode, Nottingham Forest was the game to do so. Despite their really poor run of form, just 2 wins in the last 5, I think Newcastle will prove to be a much more difficult opposition. It's a very familiar starting 11 with no new signings, but Gabriel does find a place on the bench. Whereas a second game in quick succession means Graham Potter is having to rotate his side somewhat. Ben Godfrey maintains his place in the back 5, but Philip Mwene and Noah Mbamba join him. And Jack Harrison and Dwight McNeil each return to the lineup in support of Beto up front. And indeed, Newcastle comfortable victors at Goodison Park. Gordon opened the scoring just 6 minutes into the game before Alexander Isak doubled the lead before half-time. Jack Harrison did get a goal back for Everton shortly after the break, but Gordon scored his second goal to put the game to bed 3 minutes from time. So it was a 9-game unbeaten run in the Premier League, but we do finally taste defeat once more at the hands of Newcastle, which leaves just a game against Chelsea to round out the episode. Again, a team that have failed to add to their squad in the summer, but it does look to be a strong starting 11 regardless. Mark Cucurella starts at left back, who is, of course, very familiar to Graham Potter, whilst Conor Gallagher, Noni Madueke and Mykhailo Mudryk all start today and all look to be targets for Graham Potter ahead of next summer's transfer window. And again, Graham Potter is forced to rotate his starting 11. Philip Mwene shifts from the right to the left-hand side to make room for Nathan Patterson, whilst James Tarkowski and Jared Branthwaite both return to the defensive back five. Reece Nelson shifts over to the right to make room for Lewis Dobbin, and Neal Maupay starts up front today ahead of Beto. And we lose what looks to have been a really incredible game. Nicholas Jackson opened the scoring in the first half. Looked to be a fairly uneventful first half, but the game exploded into life in the second. Reece Nelson equalised for Everton shortly after the break before Palacios put Chelsea ahead once more. James Garner then scored to equalise a second time for Everton. A penalty was awarded in the 73rd minute, which Neal Maupay failed to convert. It would have put Everton 3-2 up. And then 5 minutes from time, Christopher Nkunku twists the knife and scores the goal that would give Chelsea all 3 points. So he had an incredibly good run, but I do feel like that draw against Nottingham Forest is going to be a missed opportunity for us. It was our 9th game unbeaten, but back-to-back defeats in the episode gives us just a point to take away from it. And of course, that does mean we slip a couple of places in the table from 10th down to 12th. And although we are much closer to the top half than we are to relegation in terms of places, we are only 4 points away from the drop zone. We do have a real opportunity to put some points on the board in the upcoming episodes, though. Two real tough fixtures in terms of Tottenham Hotspur away and Manchester City coming to Goodison Park. But we do have games against newly promoted Ipswich Town and relegation battlers Wolverhampton Wanderers to get to. So we'll look to get back to winning ways and hopefully score a goal in the next episode. I hope to see you there. Take it easy.